antlers, assumptions, and artillery. So I didn't know you were a lord, is the first thing Ashina says, and Mangowa scrunches her eyes together to try and stop herself from laughing. I'm not. It was the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. What does that even mean? Ashina asks, and he rolls his eyes. It was a quote, wasn't it? Mangowa asks. From a movie series. The bad guy in the second film introduced himself that way. Or rather, his hype man did. Bjorn replies, I wouldn't go for intimidation when I'm right there in shooting distance. Messages like that are best sent when they have no idea how it got in, Mangowa says. You're the horse head in the bed. Type, huh? That's a reference. Movie about gangsters. They send a man who owns a ranch a message by killing his favorite horse and hiding the head in his own bed as he slept in it, Bjorn says, and Ashina's eyes sparkle at the thought. No, I'm more leave a weapon and a picture of them under their own pillow type. Mangowa counters and Bjorn snorts. I'm afraid that won't work with the Undaunted. We've got a soldier who expresses his approval and boredom that way. What? One of the top 2 agents. I'm not sure which. We'll hide handcrafted knives in a custom leather sheath under your pillow. It's intended as a gift, but waking up to one is still disturbing as hell, especially if the door in and out of your quarters is still locked. Bjorn remarks with a shrug. Do you have one? Ashina asks after just a slight pause. Yes, the disturbing part was that he was provably on another planet at the time. Bjorn remarks with a wary expression that quickly breaks, and he snorts. Meaning he had it sent via mail and paid someone to sneak it in. Not as funny as thinking he literally snuck across the galaxy just to put a present under your pillow. No, I'm afraid he's not a stab-happy Santa Claus, Bjorn says, and Ashina looks confused again. Mythic figure on Earth that delivers presents to well-behaved children around the winter solstice. Oh, he'd have avoided the entire family, Mangowa says with a smirk. Oh no, he still visits, but he leaves only lumps of coal in that case. Or according to some stories, Krampus, a demon emerges to stuff the naughty children into a sack and take them away. Really? The Krampus stuff is mostly ignored. I don't have the details. Bjorn says, shrugging. So on to an actual topic. Any critiques about my methods? Well, you were quick to dismiss just tearing down the massive tower of Hypercrete with your bare hands and just digging through the rubble. Mangowa teases and he shrugs. I wanted a challenge, Bjorn jokes. But how is that a challenge for Lord Humongous? Indeed, what could be a proper test for the Ayatollah of rock and rolla? Ashina asks, and he rolls his eyes again. Mom, didn't you tell me that rolling my eyes too much would unscrew them? You were 7 and sassy. How do you even remember that? Mangowa demands, and Ashina smirks. Am I going to have to separate you two again? Bjorn jokes, and mother and daughter prove themselves to truly be kin as they both turn to him with their pincers on their hips in response. The mother may be dangerous, but if he were the type to do anything but eagerly anticipate danger, then he'd still be on Earth. Jacob Schricktallen lets out a soft, chirping noise of satisfaction as the third scan confirms the excellent news the first 2 gave him. The upgrade to his engines was flawless. Even the bolts were still perfectly tight. Every rivet, nut, bolt, screw, and weld had held up flawlessly. His ship was now nearly twice as fast as it used to be. He sends the drones back to their hangars and slots the controller back into its charging port. The Bloody Heron started as a good ship, even when it was L-76,310, or larger followed by lot number. It had been preserved only by its own axiom markings, but it hadn't even been dusty when he first got on. A bit of haggling, a bit of brushing by the massively sexually frustrated lot owner, and he had even scored a discounted paint job on the ship. His post-landing checkup complete, and he walks through the vessel and pings the onboard computer one last time to check for any other life forms. When it comes up with a negative outside the microscopic scale, he locks up the ship and steps on the teleport pad out. He emerges on the top of the large vessel with fetching red paint to accent its otherwise gray form. He soars off his ship with ease, catching a glimpse of the crest he had placed on it. A black silhouette of a Lilb-to-Lelb spear heron, rocketing downwards in a deadly dive, its beak already stained with red blood. There is a slight clicking as his talons touch down on the docking bay floor, and he starts to walk like a biped. He was a little odd for a winged race. He preferred to walk unless he had to cover distance in a hurry. a holdover of his years spent hiding. You were easy to notice in the sky, unless you were willing to fly where only ships dared. Even though he was ostensibly and clearly among friendlies, he was still a paranoid weirdo and kept himself from being the first target in a shootout by reflex and habit alone. His communicator buzzes and he checks it. He then smiles to see that an answer from Methuselah is at the top of the message list. Of all three of the boys he had been close to before escaping, the only three whose names he could remember, Methuselah had landed on his feet the most thoroughly. His entire family were Alfar, close and friendly, and Methuselah had most recently gone through a healing coma, so while he hadn't remembered Jacob, he had not a single wisp of trauma or pain. The little guy had promised to write, and now he was pen pals with Jacob along with Caliburn and Intari. Caliburn had been an orphan to begin with. However, the young Fire Aramenta was in the process of being adopted by an Apuk family who thought the boy's name was downright providence. Although, in Jacob's opinion, the name Caliburnburn would be a bit ridiculous. Intari the Lopen boy had it second best. His mother was still alive. But her own journey after losing him had broken her, remade her, and she was basically a different person that he had taken a long time to recognize as his mother, which Wukyu could not have been easy or fun. But he had gone from the son of a shipper and pilot to the son and sidekick of a bounty hunter with a reputation for bringing in dead anyone that hurt children. The letter was something to look forward to after his debriefing, because unlike his former peers, Jacob was thoroughly an adult, and as such, his duties must be attended to. After all, when the Admiral herself wants to talk to you, you get a move on. He walks into the middle of the arcology and perches on the railing. He then slowly leans forward until he's falling and lets go to turn the fall into a dive. His wings then spread out when he reaches the appropriate floor, and he soars over the crowds with trivial ease, slowly lowering until he brings his feet out under him and turns the glide into a jog that then slows into a comfortable, but far from slow stride. "Hey, gents," he says, saluting the guards on duty as he enters the military-only part of the arcology. It's not a long way to Admiral Crosswind's office, and the secretary waves him through. "Ah, Jacob, good," the serpent woman says as he walks in. "You wanted to see me?" he asks. "I do. We've recruited ourselves a trainer with the exact skills you've signed up to learn, which means we're going to test her teaching abilities with you getting what you want. Guerrilla warfare, attacking hardened positions and information gathering. She's talent. Former gangster, smuggling and intimidation type. I've done some digging, and when her old gang were in the business, they were not in the skin trade. So you can stop puffing out your feathers," Admiral Crosswind assures him, and he takes a deep breath before settling his plumage down. "Are you sure that recruiting from criminals is wise?" he asks, "considering that you could qualify?" Admiral Crosswind returns and he pauses, considers, and sighs. "Fair enough, ma'am. What kind of person am I going to be learning from? Megala Bright Eyes, Andinus, single mother, sole survivor of her criminal family being wiped out in a single night while she was away to do some enforcement in their name. She was the muscle to her family, but still had numerous stashes and enough to live comfortably on. However, she has many enemies and was overindulgent as a parent and spoiled her child rotten. Is the criminal organization truly gone? Yes and no. The beating heart and functioning brain of it was destroyed, but what remained fractured into 3 distinct groups. Even combined, they don't control as much territory as they did when they were part of a larger organization. The daughter needs some discipline and is getting it. The mother, on the other hand, downright destroyed our tests and proved herself to be more akin to a force of nature in getting things done. Things you want to know how to do, how to get in and extract information, destroy information and extract or just kill people. Not to mention her combat abilities are exceptional. If she can pass all that on and polish up what you already know, then she'll be worth it." "Right. I understand," Jacob says, looking away with a frown. "What's wrong, soldier?" "I've been trying to retrieve my memories. I haven't gotten far, but I do remember some faces now, but no context into who they are or what they were to me. Just remember that there are only so many facial configurations. It's very easy to get a case of mistaken identity with just a face." Admiral Crosswind warns him and he nods. "I know. Believe me, I know," he says. "What happened?" "I'd rather not say. It's personal. But I didn't get in any trouble and everything has been smoothed over, so nothing more has or will come of it. He assures her, and she raises an eye ridge before dismissing it. Very well, I'll take you at your word. Now, will you be having any issues with Specialist Bright Eyes? No, I won't. I was able to bite my tongue and sabotage the supple satisfaction from within for years. A few weeks training with a gangster is something I can do in my sleep by comparison to, Jacob says, and Admiral Crosswind nods. Good man. Now, do you have any concerns or observations you think should be shared before I dismiss you? A lot of the incoming recruits I brought over from Albrith are dreamers. They're convinced that they're going to leave in a few days and start saving entire worlds left and right. Whatever kind of impression the Undaunted have made on that world, it's clearly filled heads with dreams. They'll learn good and quick when the training starts, Admiral Crosswind says, and it's not a bad thing to be enthusiastic about life or to think the better of things. If you say so, also I heavily recommend the Type G19 mech-make engine. I put it through its paces and blasted around to see what kind of strain it would take, and I didn't even get close to pressuring it. It's as solid as hypercrete. Understood. Is that all? Admiral Crosswind asks, and he nods. Very good. You will receive your instructions on where and when your training is within the hour. Dismissed. He salutes her and walks out of the room. His mind is already turning, and as he offers a friendly wave to the secretary, he turns left instead of right. If anyone knows who can do what, it'll be the growing branch of Nerd Squad here at the base. Crazy bastards they may be, but if you want exotic and potent axiom techniques, as well as in-depth assessments of yourself and your fellow Undaunted, then they have you covered.